Hi, my name is Eddie and I'm super keen to share with you lots of developer stories, how they got into tech, what they're doing in tech now, so you can learn from this too. Today I have with me Jae, who I only met quite recently on a Twitter space, and we've been geeking out on Twitter, and I really want to share Jae's story with you because it's super exciting. So Jae, thank you so much for joining me on this Twitter space. I won't do your intro any justice, so please give yourself an intro.
My name is Jae. I'm the founder of mentormesh.io. It's a community that helps people land careers in tech. But to be real quick about myself, so I started out as an office assistant up until my mid-20s. I don't have a bachelor's degree. I've got no certifications. I had no friends that were in tech, but I worked at senior levels at Microsoft, Twitter, Salesforce, Expedia, Peloton, and I grew my salary by 30x, my total compensation. I just love to share my story, tell people, choices that I made. I have a very non-traditional background, also a minority. I'm Black and Korean. So, my experience might be different than what most people have, but I learned that there's a lot of power in things that are not typically thought of as the way to break into a career in tech. And so I started a community called mentormesh.io. And really the purpose of that is to share a lot of these, what could be considered secrets, but they're not mainstream things that people do, but can have tremendous impact on your career.
I love that. I can't wait to dig into more about your story and more about Mentor Mesh as well. It's going to be like super, super exciting. Where are you working and what are you doing at the moment?
Yeah, so what's interesting is, I volunteered to be laid off from Peloton a couple of months ago. And it's actually really interesting. I could tell that things were looking a little sketchy, I'll just say. So I wanted to preemptively just volunteer my resignation. And a lot of it was because I had just hired like 2 or 3 rock star product managers from really good companies. And I wanted to make sure that they were okay. And like the worst thing that could happen is that you hire great talent and then you have to let them go. So to kind of preemptively avoid that, I told management, I said, hey, if it gets like that, you can lay me off. What's awesome about that is that I'm in a financial place, in a career space, that doing something like that was actually really easy to do. So right now I am taking time off, hanging out with family, and I'm actually focusing a lot more on my Mentor Mesh community, because that's really my passion, is helping people that have no idea their potential, helping them achieve things that they never thought they could. And so honestly, what I've been doing most every week now are, almost daily live streams on Twitter Spaces and other platforms, just sharing and mentoring people. So I really believe in mentorship and the value that it has. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to do that for a few months, and I'm sure sometime, maybe this summer, I'll go back and go back into the workforce. But right now I'm just hanging out with family.
You've really excited me about that. So I actually want to dig deeper into that. Everyone watching, by the way, there will be a link to Jae's socials and Mentor Mesh in the description below. Do go check it out. So tell us more about Mentor Mesh. So everyone who watches my YouTube channel, I have Eddie Hub, and we focus on open source and inclusion. But I'm really keen to know about your community and what sort of things you do and what sort of content you create. So you mentioned that you go live on Twitter Spaces. Did you say daily?
You know what? It's not supposed to be like that, but it's been that way. Like just a lot of people, not just hosted by me, but just showing up on other people's spaces and just kind of sharing every day.
That's awesome. I love that. That's great. And you're right. It doesn't have to be always hosted by ourselves. We can join other Twitter Spaces and support each other. And I think that's brilliant. So who should join Mentor Mesh? What is it for? And do you focus on a particular niche, or is it for the whole of tech? Could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
To be honest, I've never had a mentor, ever. This is one of the reasons why I started Mentor Mesh. I started thinking about all the things within my career journey that I wish I had. And as I kind of went through and spent some time digging through it, there was a lot of things about getting a career in tech and even self-paced learning that's really difficult. And a lot of it is that you're doing it by yourself. And most of people's career journey, they do by themselves. But why are we doing that? We're all on the same journey. We're all trying to level up. We're all trying to do more. We all want to take care of our families. Why are we doing it alone? And what's interesting is that when you're in tech, people in tech have a tendency to change jobs more often than your typical person, because tech changes a lot. You're always kind of changing companies, your environment's changing, but where do you get that sense of stability and loyalty, and who is supporting you in your career? So really that's what Mentor Mesh is. It's a group of what I call lifelong learners. So no matter where you are in your career, you should be thinking about career growth. It's not just about doing a good job or doing a good job while you're at a particular specific role. That role could change, right? The role that you have today and the ones that people work today are going to be different tomorrow. The jobs that we're doing tomorrow, we don't even know what the titles of those jobs are. So that's just the way the market is, right? So Mentor Mesh is about bringing people together so that we go on the career journey together.
So you're doing so many exciting things in tech now and you're helping so many people. I love this. I can't wait to dig more into all your content and your community as well. But let's go right back to the beginning. You touched on it earlier on before, how you got into tech. So it'd be really great to hear more about that and some of the challenges you had and how you overcame them. Because I think this will really help other people and encourage more people into tech as well.
Yeah, I've got a lot of tips here because I wasted at least 7 years of my life here. So another reason why I started Mentor Mesh is to hopefully help people to not do this. So I think ever since I was in high school, I was interested in tech. And a lot of it is because I loved just no boundaries. I love the no ceiling. Like you can be as successful as you want in technology. But I was an office assistant and I was going to school part-time because I was told I needed a bachelor's degree. I didn't know what I wanted to do necessarily. I tried a few things, but I was working for government. And I was there for about 10 years, believe it or not. In state governments, they really cared about bachelor's degrees. They cared about credentials, even things like age, like me being young, because I started working for government when I was 18. People don't take you serious. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how great your idea is. It doesn't matter. Like you're too young. And people just treat you that way. So I tried to play that game. I went to college part-time, but never finished. I ended up dropping out because I finally said, look, if these people don't want to hire me, I'm going to hire myself. And so this is when I became an entrepreneur. And this is what I encourage everyone to do, especially if you're trying to break into a career. Go do it. I didn't know what I was doing, but I started my own software consulting company and I ran that for about 6 years. I'd never owned a business before, but I ran it for about 6 years. I was able to find another founder of a startup called VenScreen. He got 35 million in venture capital funding. I built a large part of his engineering organization. We won all these awards at national conferences, and I learned what it was like to be a part of a startup. The part that I try to emphasize to people is that you just got to go do it. So one of the big issues is that people are incredibly self-conscious about failure. And so they don't want to try something until they feel prepared. That's a big problem. Just go do it. Just go start. Just go fall. Go learn. Go make mistakes. Most people in big tech still don't know how to do things without being told what to do. Think about your entire career. You've been going to school. Teachers are telling you what to do. You're an intern. Senior people are telling you what to do. You get a job, your boss is telling you what to do. A lot of people only know to do what they're told. I think, especially in the beginning where the hardest, transition can be your first job, because there's this weird situation where it's like, yeah, it's entry level, but we want you to have 2 years of experience. Well, this is how you get the experience. Go start your own business and do that, right? Like learn the lessons and you'll grow as a person. And a lot of people that you work with will have never been on that journey. And so they're going to think very differently than you. You will stand out from day one, and that's a very good thing.
What are your current challenges at the moment that maybe the community can help you with?
My passion for the last few years has really been around mentorship and communities, because there really isn't a platform that specifically does that, right? Like LinkedIn is your online resume, Twitter is news, all these other platforms, they have purpose, but none of them have the purpose of building community. Like that is, maybe you could say Facebook is, maybe. But when it comes to professionally though, I want to solve the mentorship problem, because I think that people want one-on-one mentorship. I believe community mentorship is better. So instead of a one-on-one, I believe many-to-many is so much better, because it's more than just the knowledge, right? Like, yes, there's knowledge sharing that needs to happen, but everybody has different experiences. So having one mentor is going to give you a very biased view from one person, right? But if you build relationships with dozens and dozens of people that are all over their career, as far as, from junior to senior people, you're going to get a very rounded and different mentorship experience. And so that's what I believe in. Plus, with a community, you get accountability, you get support, you get people that are out there, that are in the industry, helping you and thinking about you. And I think there's a lot of benefit there. But to get back to your question, I would love to hear more from people as to their challenges, right? I really want to solve the mentorship problem because I feel like it's the key to unlocking opportunity. It's the key to not being alone and being able to thrive in your career. So when we're thinking about career growth, I would love to hear from people what they wish they had. Because even a lot of these platforms have problems with engagement. LinkedIn has 800 million people, but only about 1% of people actually post on the platform, actually interact with the platform. And what I would love to do is build products and services and communities that are active and beneficial. Because even in my programs, I run programs at MentorMesh, there's a lot, thousands of people. We've got like 3,500 people on the platform. But there's only usually like a subset of a few hundred people that actually engage. But the ones that do, they're making huge progress, landing Fortune 500 offers all the time. I've heard about at least 3 of them just in this last week. Like, they're doing it. But then there's all these people on the sideline, they're just watching. And I don't understand it. Like, you see the wins, you see people doing it, and I'm like, what is it that's holding people back? Like, how do you get people to engage? And so for me, I love to interview. I love to hear from people. I love to understand, what is it that's holding you back in your career? What do you wish that you can have? You wish you had? Because I want to provide those services.
I love that. And you're so right. Who inspires you in tech?
I don't have anyone that I really dig into and say I get inspiration from. I will say, I think at a high level, I think Elon Musk is pretty cool. Mainly because his products are really good, like just Tesla, electric cars. I registered for his Starlink because I live kind of out in the boonies. I love for his satellite internet to be at my house because I need it. I got to be honest, like, I do have a persona that I love, and I have met a few leaders that are like this. I love servant leaders. I love humble leaders, just people that, because you can tell they're naturally empathetic and they care about people, they just get the respect and the power and the authority that every other, type of leader can get. But they don't have to be as harsh about it because you can tell that they're passionate about their space, but they care about people. And so I'm always drawn to leadership that's like that because it takes more effort to make a message hit softly. And I think there's value in that.
Okay, so where would you like to be in the next few years? So you mentioned, maybe in a few months or so, or in the summer, getting another job. But where do you see yourself in a few years? Would you like to work on MentorMesh full time?
I see myself retired. That would be the goal here. But to be honest, that even retired, like now I'm taking a break, but what am I doing? Like, I'm mentoring people every day. So I think the rest of my career will revolve around mentorship communities. And I even think my next job will have some level of that in it. I think I've achieved as much as I want to, in my career, really. So now it's really, I care more about giving back and creating community and having good experiences. And when you work with certain people and certain cultures and environments, you can get a lot of energy and excitement. And working in the opposite type of environment can drain your energy and your enthusiasm for work.
It's going to be interesting. Really looking forward to see what happens over the next kind of 6 months, 3 to 3 years, and so forth. What do you wish you knew when you first started out?
So the thing that comes to mind just reminds me of the years that I lost in government, right? I spent years trying to convince a system to want me, to be interested in me, and to see my potential. And I wasted time. So I wish I would have known not to do that. And I would never encourage anyone to do that. Instead, what I would say is aggressively pursue growth. Good employers, good managers, good cultures will recognize your value and help you grow. And if they don't, you find another environment that will. So I believe in that. Aggressively pursue growth. Promote yourself. Don't wait to be promoted. Don't even think about promotion. I don't even like that conversation. When people ask me, what should I do to get promoted? Build amazing things. Do great work, okay? If you're in a good company, they will promote you. If you're not, leave. That encourages the wrong types of behavior. You get a bunch of people that are just doing what their boss wants simply because they're trying to get a promotion. I think that kills products, it kills culture. Don't do that. So that's number one, I would say. And I think number two is be an entrepreneur earlier. Man, I wish I would have started that when I was like 18 or 16 or, I mean, there's so much to learn running your own business, doing your own marketing, trying stuff, failing, and trying it again. The upside of doing that is incredible. So never choose stability. There's no such thing as stability. Now it's about aggressively pursuing growth, trying to be in demand so people are looking for you, and do your own thing. Continue to grow and learn. You don't need a job in order to grow and learn and to increase your skills, right? Like just go do it. And I think I wish I would have done that at an earlier age. I wish I would have not joined a company job, especially when you're young and you don't have a lot of obligations. Like that's the time, like especially, right? Like go and experiment and experience.
I love that. You're right. When you're younger, you can take more risks, right? You haven't got the responsibilities. So yes, it's time to like fix those mistakes if many are made. Final message from yourself. What would you say to someone in the community who's maybe kind of stuck and wants to kind of get out and do a bit more? I know you've covered this a lot, but any kind of closing words to encourage people to take that leap of faith or that risk, that next step?
So I would say, remember that you're not alone. You don't need to do these things alone. Join communities, right? Like you're in a community, there's other communities, meet people, know people, connect with people. Because half the time what I found is that people just, imposter syndrome just starts rolling in. You start to think you can't do it and then you quit and then time goes by and now you wish you would have done it and you never did. When you have a community around you and you're surrounded by people that are all on that same journey as you, they're going to lift you up when you feel like quitting. They're going to remind you who you are when things get tough, and things will get tough. They always do. I tell my community all the time, the way you handle failure will determine your success. So don't be by yourself. Be around people that give you positive energy, join communities, be engaged on platforms like LinkedIn, be engaged on Twitter, be engaged in other communities and platforms. Find your people. You know, when you find them and you have the support group, it's a lot easier to kind of make those decisions and try things that you've never done, because hopefully maybe there's other people that are doing it with you and they can share their experience or they can support you as you try to do it. So I think finding community, finding your tribe, that can be very, very pivotal to helping you to keep going. Because I think that's the hardest part sometimes, is that everybody has imposter syndrome that kind of sets in that makes you want to quit. But if you have people, it's a lot easier to keep going.
That's perfect, like kind of closing there. I love that. So thank you so much. Hi, let me start again.
I hate it.
Hi, my name is Eddie, and I'm super excited to bring developer stories. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Jay.
No, dude, I'm so the same as you.